Now JJ's dealing with an injury. We'll talk about whether you should be alarmed. Is he panic chamber material right now? This is a player that did go missing for a while. We talked about this last night, and these hamstring injuries can be nothing. They could be something lingering and significant. And the fact that he's going to be reevaluated next week is a cause for concern, no doubt about it. Should anybody be panicking beyond belief? No. But this is something. You know, JJ, even when he came back from his stint of injuries where everyone was like, I don't even know if I could trust JJ anymore. It's hard to remember. There was a moment where you felt that coming off of that injury plagued season. And JJ even said his first time back, like, he was nervous. Am I going to stay healthy? Because he couldn't shake it that season. And it's just kind of a wild PTSD, reality check that JJ can get hurt. And whenever a player is saying there's some tightness, and yesterday the word was that there was tightness, and then it comes out today that there's more of a hamstring situation, we have to take some precautions. The Fantasy Football Show breaking news edition begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Now, there are going to be a lot of nervous Neds in here. No offense, Zach, but whenever you see someone that says something like this, management, it's nothing serious, Smitty. As if I'm not looking into this, Zach. Thanks, Zach. Should I just cancel the live stream? Or I know that you own them in 7 leagues, but it's very evident. Now, you guys can pull the old, I have him, he'll be fine card if you want. That's fine. Zach can hold that card. You guys can stay over in the corner at the little kid table. This is time to talk serious. It's time to talk about, the fact that this could linger. And it's being called a mild hamstring strain, but yesterday it was being called tightness. So is it really a mild hamstring strain? We got to take that with a grain of salt. As long as he comes out of this thing next week without some sort of, like he practices, there's no tightness, he's not feeling like, okay, I got to watch it, or we hear some verbiage like that, we'll be fine. There's no reason to say that this is complete panic time. But if you're dealing between CeeDee Lamb and JJ, Bijan, Gibbs, and we're walking into draft season, we do have to consider this information. We do have to say, okay, now am I drafting Bijan no matter what over JJ? Am I taking Lamb no matter what over JJ without any of these, concerns? I think you've got to strongly consider it. Now, on Underdog, promo code Smitty, we're very fortunate on Underdog to be able to draft as many teams as we choose, and are capable of doing. Hit this link if you want to draft with us tonight. It's promo code Smitty. They'll match your first deposit 50%. You can dabble in JJ and not even sweat. $5 draft, JJ. $5 draft, Bijan. $5 draft, Lamb. $5 draft, let's go JJ again. That's okay. But when you're drafting in 3 home leagues, your mom and pop league, your Aunt Edna's league, your work league, your water cooler league, the elevator league at work, where you're riding up the elevator and Sally wins the league and she doesn't know what she's doing because you, my friend, are not drafting like Sally. You got to draft for upside. This is a scenario, a very concerning scenario in a league where you play in this one league. It's a $100 entry league. It's not the $5 entry on Underdog. It's not the $10 entry. This is your home league, and you need to draft safety with upside. And Lamb has upside to be the number 1 wide receiver in the league. So does JJ, but JJ's dealing with a hamstring injury. Bijan's got the ability to be the number 1 overall player in fantasy football, period. He's not dealing with a hamstring injury. Now, if Bijan gets a hamstring injury, or Bucky, or anybody, knock on wood, I hope that does not happen. We're not out on these players, and we're not out on JJ, but there are decisions to be made when you're talking about a number 4 or number 5 overall pick. Even if a player, let's say down in the 2-3 turn, has a hamstring injury, it's less risk in a way. I'm not saying it's something that's acceptable if there's another equal player that has no injury standing right there and you were debating it anyway, like Bucky, or let's call it Bucky, or I don't know, between Bucky and Derrick Henry in round 2, Achane and Derrick Henry. If one had an injury and one didn't, you'd have to consider. Not saying you take the non-injured player, but you have to consider it strongly. The higher you go up in the draft, the more your league is dependent on this player, and you can't necessarily run into flames like this if you have an opportunity to run into a different direction that is just as potent, just as is potentially rewarding. So, I think he just doesn't want to practice. This is what I'm talking about. Come on, Big Prophet. I think he just doesn't want to practice. What world are you living in? That he's going to fake a hamstring injury to get out of the heat. He's a professional football player. This is what I'm saying. Like, you own JJ in how many leagues, Big Prophet? Please be honest with us. Because there's no way you're saying this unless you have him in 3 leagues. Come on. You guys got to think differently than this. You can't be so biased toward your own team. You got to be able to adjust and adapt. I just think he doesn't want to practice. Come on, bro. This is football time. He's a professional football player. If I was out there, if I was playing for the Vikings right now, there's not a minute I'd want to be off the field. Are we talking? Are we serious? Come on, Big Prophet. Jeez. Not much to discuss here. I'll read this report right here. Per team statement. And also, you got to think about, why is the team making a statement on this? It's a team statement. Jefferson will be reevaluated next week. Jefferson exited practice early yesterday, citing tightness in his legs. He described the decision as a precautionary measure. Apparently, it was a little more than that. Jefferson has plenty of time to rehab his left leg's hamstring injury, so the news should not instill panic, though soft tissue strains can be finicky. Setbacks are possible. This is all stuff that we need to consider. Oh, Big Prophet was joking. Okay. Thank you, Big Prophet. Appreciate you. This guy's not joking, though. Wait, not Travis. This guy's not joking. JJ's fine. Hey. I ran over here. I'm out of breath. Just wanted to tell you, JJ's fine. He might be, Brian, but you own him in 7 leagues. Big Prophet looked like he owned him in 6. You own him in 7. Now, we do hope he's fine. I do hope that we don't have to close these panic chamber doors on JJ, and I'm not going to right now. I think we wait till next week before we decide to do anything in terms of panic chamber labeling. But he's in here, he's loaded, he's queued, and we'll kind of take it as it comes. But like I said, you walk into a draft tonight or tomorrow, and it's not a best ball draft. Best ball draft, I'd still draft JJ. But I wonder where he falls. Does he fall 2 or 3 spots? Does he go at like 8 right now? Does he go to a territory where we do want to draft JJ with the risk? JJ at 9 or 10 with this risk is worth it. You know, so a lot of context is needed in your home league. If he fell to 9 or 10, probably worth it. So all these angles need to be talked about. There's different pieces of context that can shape the way I'm even going to give you advice on this information. So there's no panic. There's concern. There's no slamming the panic chamber doors open on JJ. There's queuing him and leaving him in there. There's no running away from JJ, but there is, hey, maybe Bijan, who I was considering anyway, or Lamb or Gibbs. Maybe I go that route when I was wavering anyway. Those things are okay, because at the end of the day, you're not even drafting a player that's going to play lesser than JJ. You're getting a player that might play as good or better anyway. So those are some push you in that direction type of thing. We'll see what happens. This news may or may not affect his ADP. It doesn't mean that he would go down to pick 8 or 7 or 9. He might stay at 5, 6, 4, depending on your scoring format. 2 PPR, full PPR, he can go 3 or 2 overall. He could go 4 overall. But I do believe that there will be some panic because of the season JJ had, where he did vanish, came back, wasn't healthy. Everybody was like, what are we doing? And And I'm not saying, like, make this abundantly clear for all you nervous Neds and angry Anguses out there, and that you're going to take what I say and take it wrong. I'm trying to preface this up front. I'm giving you the playbook up front to what I'm about to say. I'm not saying this with JJ. I repeat, I'm not saying that this is happening with JJ. JJ's the number one player. I think I have this right historically in yards per game in the history of the NFL at wide receiver. I think he averages over 100 yards per game, right at 100, might be 99 or whatever. And that's the leading wide receiver average in the history of the game. He's amazing. So I'm not saying this is happening with JJ, but let me put two names on the board here. Players that were as highly touted and were as good in fantasy circles as JJ. And they had very short reigns because of injuries. Don't act like this name doesn't hit like it used to. Don't act like you can't get back into the frame of mind that Mike Thomas was the guy. He was the guy. And injuries did derail him. I'm not saying that's JJ. I'm just saying JJ has had 1 year where he panicked the hell out of us. And then now you get the injury and you're like, you're freaking out a little bit. Don't act like this wasn't the best player in fantasy football and had a very short reign. All I'm saying is we can't sit here and like assume that someone's invincible to a hamstring injury when we've seen injuries take out other players that were supposed to be the best player in fantasy, period, and they had short reigns. I'm not in panic mode. I just am in caution mode. And I'm not suggesting any of you should trade him in Dynasty or anything stupid like that. This is the number one wide receiver in the history of the game in yards per game. He is a monster. He is a monster. But if you're in a redraft league and you're sitting there looking at Bijan, and even if it's full PPR, or you're sitting there looking at Lamb and you're drafting tonight, let's say, these are potentially safer situations. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Not what you wanted to hear today, that is for sure. This was supposed to be leg tightness, and I think the fact that we were told, and I'm not saying you can't discovery of these injuries, find out, okay, you might have a hamstring injury, when it was tightness, and he was like, because he didn't necessarily report to the trainer examined him and say, oh, you got a hamstring injury. He very well was like, got some tightness. Okay, why don't you sit down? And he's like, I'm going to precautionary sit out for precautionary reasons. And then he gets looked at and they're like, yeah, you got a little hamstring injury. Very much could have been the way that it unfolded. I'm not suggesting there's, misinformation being tossed out by the Vikings or the staff or the training room. But I'm merely pointing out that yesterday it was tightness. Now today is a hamstring injury that will keep him out until next week, which could be precautionary, sure. But, it is what it is. So we have two top wide receivers with kind of concerning injuries right now. And it just comes down to the Bijan Lamb, the scenarios. But we have Neighbors with the toe, not a small thing. Even though he looks fantastic right now, it's still a concern for many reasons. Not saying he's a total avoid at all. JJ, not saying he's a total avoid. It's a concern. These are two concerns. You have to consider it. You have to consider it when you're drafting at number 4 or 5 overall. It is something to consider in a grandma league, in a non-best ball league. In best ball, fire away. Grab JJ in a $5 draft over and over and over. If he drops two spots even, grab him in a best ball draft over and over and over. But I don't know. We'll have to see. For Lamb, for this comment here by Scott, London, welcome to round 1. I don't think JJ could fall past London, bro. So that would have to be Neighbors or JJ falling to round 2 is almost something I can't imagine unless there's a multiple miss game projection or something, which there's nothing even being hinted. Neighbors is practicing in full. JJ is going to be evaluated next week. But if we got to a point where there was some more bad news that broke, some worse news that said, oh, he's out 3 to 4 games maybe, you never know. You never know. We come in here talking about this, and everyone's like, "No, he's fine. He's gonna be fine." You don't know. You don't know if he's gonna be fine. You don't know. There is a scenario where we come back a day or two later, and it's like we got horrible news that he's projected to have, to miss 3 or 4 weeks just to make sure it doesn't come back. So he's likely to be. You don't know. You have no clue. We are so far out though that we probably won't get those types of indications until we get 2-3 weeks deeper into August, you know what I'm saying, or at least halfway through August, because anything you suffer now, you could be projected to return in a 3 or 4 week period. So really, this is kind of like a little premature to even have that conversation, but you never know. You never know. You're right, Smitty. JJ 98.3 yards per game. Yeah, it's right at 100. It's right. I knew it was right at 100, but it's the most I believe in NFL history. So JJ is just a monster. But this is a concern, a big concern. Oh, the phone lines I thought were open. I'm so sorry. I didn't have it actually open. Phone lines are open now. Angus, I'm sorry, bro. You called. Travis called. Try calling back again. I'm sorry, broskies. I didn't mean to have the phone line closed. London not going to the first round yet. Let's pump the brakes on that. Let's pump the brakes on that. Is anybody in here taking JJ without a hesitation? Raise your hand. And don't just be honest if you already own him in 3 or 4 leagues, or you have him in a dynasty league and you're just letting that kind of cloud your judgment. Or is someone considering Bijan now or Lamb? Put it in your hand raised with what you're thinking. I'll drag some of your comments on screen. I'm just kind of curious what the general populace is looking at this. What angle you're looking at from this. Like this right here, you don't know. This is a total vague speculation there, Ghost. Mild hamstring strain. He's young. He'll be okay. That's what you want. Okay, so you own him in 3 leagues, confirmed. Which is fine. I'm not mad at you for it. I understand where you're coming from, but that's I own him in 3 leagues comment. With the draft, Smitty, you have a ranking list to help with the draft. Sure, thefantasyfootballshow.com, my bro. I mean, I've only had this longer than you're probably in diapers or not even born when I started creating this content. So this has been up for 23 plus years. It's my written content. It's my bread and butter of when I started in the business before I did any sort of YouTube stuff. thefantasyfootballshow.com, link in the description, my boy. Go check it out. Get the rankings, the trade calculator. Let's go over to Travis real quickly. Travis, you're live. No, they're going to evaluate him next week and then decide whether he can practice next week. So don't apologize. Yeah, Sergeant, don't apologize, my boy. Go ahead, sorry. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, but if you're deciding now, though, like that's kind of why we're here. If you're deciding now, are you, and you're on the clock in a buddy league, are you taking Lamb? Bijan's different because you almost want to consider that anyway because of the running back value. But let's stick to wide receiver to get your true value. Are you drafting Lamb over JJ, and were you already? Okay. Does that make any sort of wavering go away, though, entirely? If you're like, okay, well, I was kind of like on the fence a little bit, and now I'm not. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. I don't know why that does that. Just restarted my computer too. Let me get the speaker going. Were you guys able to hear him at all, or you couldn't hear him entirely? Hopefully they could hear you a little bit. All right. Let's see here. Sorry. Go ahead, Travis. Everybody should be able to hear you now. Could you hear him? Could you hear him? Okay.
I don't know if they can hear me now or not.
All right. Yeah, they can hear you. Got you on the speaker now. All right. This is tough. Chat, are you liking Lamb or JJ right now? And if you already felt that way, type that in if you can. But if you're changing your mind, you can just say Lamb. But if you already felt that way, say Lamb, but I was already going Lamb. Drop it in the chat, Lamb or JJ. This is like, people need to understand with this news right now, this is where we're at. Are we going Lamb or JJ? We're not at, are we avoiding JJ? Are we putting JJ in the second round? You got to understand there's levels to this thing. There's levels. You know, it's not like we can jump. I mean, we could, but we're not going to. It's reckless. More reckless to jump off the ledge blindly than to like try to be cautious and hope we don't get burned, because you're going to get burned one way or the other. If you avoid JJ entirely or do something drastically stupid, like, oh, I'm not drafting him in the first round at all, you could get more burned that way than you know, avoiding and trying to. But at some point, that teeter-totter, you know, the scales, one side will be heavier than the other. If next week they evaluate him and they're like, yeah, he's not ready, then all of a sudden the scale of avoiding him gets heavier. And you got to start considering that. So right now we're at Lamb JJ. Right now we're at Bijan JJ. Right now we're at even maybe, you know, you have the conversation. I'm not saying you say yes to it, but Genty JJ. Like, you're getting down to like the 6, 7 overall, 8 overall player. And you ask the question, are you going those players or JJ? There's nothing wrong with that. That's where we're at. If anybody has a problem with that, you're not objectively analyzing the situation in this injury. You're oblivious because you own them in a league. If you're not willing to have the conversation and understand the Lamb over JJ right now because of the soft tissue potential injury, or Bijan or Gibbs, or maybe even the discussion of Genty over JJ, then you are oblivious to the situation. And that's okay. We still want you here. We still welcome you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just wearing goggles that are JJ goggles this thick. Like, there is a concern enough to talk about him moving to 7, 8 overall. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Travis. Then we had another caller that's been waiting patiently. Go ahead, Travis.
Yeah. The other thing with Lamb was that I like the thing that was a lot. Very confident in. But now that you have Milton, I'm confident that even if Milton went in and, you know, even win a game with him, I'm confident he can set the ball to slam and throw it on the field. Make decent throws. You know, before that when I was you know, a little more authority, not harder than we thought.
Bro, Milton's so good. He's so good. Yeah, and it's like, it's important to note that, like, it's not like, I mean, JJ is so good. Everyone needs to be 100%, you know, aware of how amazing this guy. I mean, it was 2023 was his season where he played 10 games. But it was a rough go because of the return. I'm trying to find the game log on it, but he returned, and then what was it? Can you find out, Travis, just so I don't distract myself and I'm not able to speak as I'm searching? Can you look up what games did he miss in 2023 exactly, and when did he return, and what was that like when he returned? Just if you could pull that up. Let me go to this caller real quickly if you're able to do that. It's no problem. Let's see here. 310, you're live. What can I do for you? Hello? All right, call back if you can unmute yourself or whatever. We'll get you back on the line. Travis, you still there? Maybe my phone line is at it again. Let me restart it again. Hold on. I don't know why it's doing this. I got to restart my computer before the next live stream. We'll get it all reset before the 8 p.m. show. Travis, I probably can hear you now, but if you're able to look that up, let me know. Yeah, I can hear you now. I don't know why it's doing that. And that other caller called back. It was 310 or something. I'm sorry about that. Call back if you want to get back on the phone line. I didn't mean to hang up on you. I thought you weren't there. Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
When or that?
It's JJ. I wanted to know if you could look at his 2023 season, pull up his game log. Yeah, and I can probably do it here. 6-12. Didn't he come back and then?
Yep.
And then go. And did he go back out, or is he just? What was it? I feel like there was a stretch there.
One to five, then the road reach. Then
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Then it was fine.
Yeah, that's what it was. So, yeah, he came back and got kind of hurt again, but then he was able to continue playing. It was a very, very tough season, but it's one year. Like you can't like hold that against the man. But it was such a jolt, I think, to the fantasy football community and world because we had just saw Mike Thomas go to the top of the top and then get raptured from the league as quickly as he, rose up. Then we saw Cooper Kupp rise up and get raptured from the league as quickly as he, developed. So it's a harsh reminder that you never really know how long someone has. And I'm not saying JJ's going down that road. I'm just saying that it's like a PTSD thing where you're like, oh no. You're like, oh no, that was a brutal season having JJ. And if you remember, like coming out of that season, people were really, really like nervous to touch JJ at that point. But then everybody got over it last year. He was phenomenal. 1,500 yards last year. He was unbelievable. And he got back to doing JJ things. And even when he's hurt, he's able to get 100 yards. Like, it's crazy. Even when he's banged, even when his quarterback plays horrible, it's like end of the game, he's got 100 yards. Doesn't matter if he has a touchdown. He's 100 yards, 8 catches. He's crazy.
Yep.
But it's just Smitty doesn't like Tet. That's not true. It's fake news. Nice try though, Big Prophet. What's wrong with you today? I don't like a Doomsday. That's not true either. Both of you guys. What do you have? Is this the same person? You got 2 different accounts there? What do you mean I don't like it?
That is
Yeah. Whatever. You guys clearly don't know me. That's for sure. Okay. Real quickly, let me go to this caller who I hung up on. I thought I couldn't hear him. 310, you're live.
What's up, Smitty? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, my man?
Right on, brother. It's Josh from Cali. How's your day going, man?
I'm good, bro. What can I do for you, Josh?
Well, I'm sitting in this LA traffic, and I was a little upset. Man,
Yeah, we can barely hear. We can barely hear you. Are you muffled, or are you on a headset, or like whatever you're doing is the chat can barely hear you. So if you could take there you go. Yeah, that's your headset, huh? Isn't it suck when someone tells you your headset isn't working and you're like, and then you do it again and you're like, just don't want to believe anybody. You're like, because you're set on that. You want to use your headset, your earpiece or whatever. All right, yeah, go ahead. We can hear you very clear now. Go ahead. You're talking about JJ.
I'm in the mood. As a DJ owner, it's a little bit of but I was just a call. I was able to get JJ last year in redraft at 9. Do you that far?
Well, we're only going to have a short period of time where we could even test out that. Like, if you go to Underdog, you'll see it, right? But I think he probably falls like one spot right now. One and a, like 1.5 really. Just every once in a while, you're going to see him like go a pick below. Someone's going to take Lamb. Someone's going to take Genty once in a while. But he's not going to fall crazy. He's not going down to like 12. But the reason is we have a benchmark or a turnstile, if you will, in Monday, Tuesday, news or whatever. So once we hear if JJ's returning to practice, that will be a trigger point to either move him back up or at least keep him where he is as we kind of work through it. But if Monday or Tuesday comes, that's where I think you could see a second wave of concern in terms of reaction. So right now the temperature is going to be 1 out of every 5 or 6 people are going to be like, holy crap. And then the other 4 are going to be like, I've drafted him over and over. He's fine. He's fine. Watch your mouth. He's fine. And they're going to continue to draft. So there's a lot of bias involved. But at the end of the day, I would say we don't have any sort of cliff that we're falling off of ADP wise until there's more news that's bad. Like, remember Judkins? Remember when I came in here? And it's so funny. Look, we've been pretty damn accurate. Even yesterday when I said Fields will return to practice today, watch. He's a warrior. What did Fields do? Ran right onto the field today in practice. Like, we're pretty damn accurate on this stuff. And with Judkins, I said, wait till we get everyone's like, Judkins is fine. He's innocent. He'll play week 1. And I said, just wait. If there's one more piece of bad news, then the photos emerge. Even though the photos, we don't know if they're legit or not. I'm not saying right or wrong or innocent or guilty. But it was bad news that the photos emerged. And then there was more bad news. And then there was that the Browns, we're going to say, take care of your business and then worry about football. Look where he's at now. Not a single Judkins. You're wrong, Smitty. Watch. Judkins is going to be fine. Not one of those people are around anymore. So I'm just saying, like, you never know until that bad piece of news breaks. So if Monday or Tuesday bad news breaks, we will see panic ensue. Right now we have just a casual, okay, I was lingering on Lamb, Gibbs, Bijan. Now I'm going Lambs, Gibbs, Bijan. I was wavering between those 4: JJ, Lamb, Gibbs, Bijan, maybe Barkley for some of you. And then now you got people going, I have a question in the back. What about Genty? So we have those conversations happening, right? And everyone's, for the most part, going to be like, calm down, Clifford. Okay, JJ's still above Genty for me. Like, a lot of people are going to say that, and that's fine. But the moment we get to Monday or Tuesday and there isn't a good update, even if it's a vague update, we might see a Genty. We might see a couple players, neighbors even with the toe. We don't know. I just think that falling out of round 1 is going to take something significantly bad. You there? Damn phone line. I'm gonna reopen this up and then I'm gonna have to probably close the phone line down until I restart the show for the 8 p.m. show. It'll all get cleared up when I reset everything. But I'm sorry, bro. Did you have any final thoughts? I don't know if you heard everything I said, but go ahead and respond.
I heard everything you said, brother. I was just going to ask, though, if I can ask that.
Sure.
I can follow up on you.
No. Go ahead.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right, my quick question. I made a trade for Brock Bowers. Sorry, I traded away Brock Bowers in the offseason. Bucky and Kyle Pitts. And since yesterday was news, I'm a little stoked. Should I be stoked or should I still be devastated?
I mean, no, bro. Here's the thing. Is it tight end premium?
A quarter point. Nothing crazy.
So, yeah. I would say quarter point's not crazy. I would say you're probably still getting Bowers drafted slightly ahead of Bucky in that scenario, and therefore you're getting Pitts. I'm fine with it. I think either way you could easily win and build a championship team. There's no mistake made on either side of this. Like, for example, if you said, hey, Smitty, I could trade Bucky and Pitts for Bowers right now, I'd struggle to answer that question. So either way, I would struggle. It's a really look. I like Pitts right now. When Penix Jr. tells when Adam Peters tells you something, you listen. When Penix Jr. tells you something, you listen. And if he says he saw me throwing to Kyle Pitts today, KP, there's gonna be a lot of that. That is this guy just exudes. I don't know, commands a room and exudes a feeling of confidence. Like Penix Jr. is a baller. He's a baller. I mean, this guy goes to the podium and you're ready to go to war for him. He can literally say, guys, gather around. We got to go to war. Who's with me? And I think I'm signing up. Like Penix Jr., he can motivate the hell out of you. And when he says something, he means it. He's talking about Kyle Pitts right now. We could all make fun of Kyle Pitts, how we all missed on him year after year after year. Can't trick me again. But I don't know. At the cost of entry, there's no trick. And honestly, you know, with your situation, it's a little different than drafting Pitts right now. But this is still good value. I think there's no way you should be upset at yourself. And yes, you should be much more happy today than you were a week ago, for sure. All right, your last question, whatever you had. That's it.
$50 board. You still have that?
Yes, we do.
Justin board?
Yes, sir. Anytime you want to drop a $50 dollar.
What's the winner? What's the winner again?
The winners, if they want to co-host a show on the phone line, they can sit there pretty much the whole show. Let me see if I can pull this up. So it's right up there. That Neighbors number one wide receiver was one I threw up on the board. I might swap that out. I still love Neighbors. He's still the next Jamar Chase. But anyway, mine don't count. But anyway, yeah, $50 hauler. Anybody that drops a $50 hauler, we'll do a lot of it in August. Winner gets to co-host the show. I'll probably throw in I don't know, might do some sort of Patreon, like number of months free to the winner as well. So if you don't know.
Let's get to work today. Do you think that Kyron Williams outscoring Genty would win that?
Honestly, anything that lands would be in contention because last year we didn't have a ton of everyone went so crazy bold. Like Ron Navy said, you know, Bajent would start more games than Caleb. Like everybody loved that prediction. Those everybody was swinging so big that we had like 10 out of like the 40 of them that actually landed. So honestly, anything you land, but I don't know if that would be the boldest one. I think you'd be bolder by saying something great about Kyron. Like rather than pin it on Genty, say something like 15 touchdowns. And if he gets 14, you'll still be probably voted in the mix. You know, you don't have to actually get it right as long as it's a very impactful prediction. All right, bro.
Love the show, brother. Thank you, man.
Later. Let me go to Travis real quick for final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here, and we'll be back at 8 p.m. or sooner.
Yeah. How would Lamb be the only guy that's taking over JJ just to play?
Well, yeah, obviously Chase, but you mean of the players in his territory. So Chase, Lamb, and then, you know, I think it's Bijan, Gibbs, and then, I mean, we get to this point where, I mean, you either like Barkley or you don't. If you like Barkley, like I like Gibbs and Bijan, then I understand why you put him in here. I'm not putting CMC in here. I think CMC has more risk than JJ at this point. Just for those that don't understand that, that's okay. You keep drafting CMC, you bad boy. Keep doing it. But I think yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I would move him down any further yet, but I would just say that where I can get these guys right here every time I'm taking them over JJ right now. Whereas I might not have always said that. Like on Underdog, I'm drafting JJ at number 2 and 3 sometimes to get that wide receiver. So if it goes to Jamar Chase Lamb, I might go JJ 3 if I want to go wide receiver, running back in that draft. And I want to get a bunch of JJ shares. But as of this moment right now, the impact of JJ's hamstring news makes me lock him in at no higher than number 5. I am not drafting another draft of JJ until I know more over Gibbs, Lamb, Bijan, Chase. But that still puts him at the 5 to 7 range. I mean, that's not. But I don't even know. Like, I guess who would I, if I was on the clock right now? Would I go? I don't know. Would I go Lamb 5. I'm sorry, JJ 5. Let me look at the rankings right here. Let me put my mind in that mode, and I'll tell you what I do. So I'm on the clock right now. I'm looking at it. The Chase, Bijan, Lamb, Gibbs. Is anybody going Genty? am I the only one here thinking it? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying moving them 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. I'm not being an idiot. But is anybody else thinking Genty? Travis, you are?
Yeah.
I could rotate that though. I don't lock in Genty over JJ, but I don't think I'd be. Yeah. Yep. I still take JJ over those guys right now, today. Now in my home league, that's best ball, I guess. In my home league, I'm toying with Genty more than I would be. So let me put it this way. Underdog, I've got 5 drafts side by side. Okay? I've got the number 5 pick. Chase, Lamb, Bijan, Gibbs are all gone. CMC's there, Barkley's there, all those boys are there. Best ball. I'm taking JJ in 1 or 2 of those drafts, not all 5. I'm taking Genty in maybe 1 or 2 of those, and then I don't know, some other player, maybe Neighbors. I want to share Neighbors, even with the toe. I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth on Neighbors. I'm telling you, we've done a Panic Chamber live stream on Neighbors, and I'm telling you, at 12 is where I'm comfortable. But I can't shake yesterday. He looked so good. The problem with Neighbors, though, is he can look like the best player that's ever played the game. And if the team's got 4 wins in week 14, we might all get screwed. We might all get the rug pulled out from under us. Just in the middle of the right at the beginning of the fantasy football playoffs. Because why would you run him out there if his toe is starting to get more sore? He's on a management plan for it. It starts getting more sore. Right now, it's at the best it could be. It starts getting more sore, and they start saying we need surgery eventually. And we've got 4 wins. We're not going anywhere. We get a better draft pick if Neighbors is out and we lose 3 more games. There's such a world where Neighbors doesn't play the final 3 or 4 weeks of the season, or the final 2, or the whatever. No matter what he looks like right now, that's almost irrelevant. And even if he goes and has 150 yards and 2 touchdowns in week 1, it doesn't change that fact. All it changes is that you could have drafted him and then sold him high before week 10. And that's an option too, but in best ball. So let me dial back the Neighbors. Let me not get crazy. I would go if I had 5, let's call it 4 leagues. I got 4 leagues side by side. I'm going JJ in 2 of them. I'm going Genty in 2 of them at number 5. If these guys are all off the board in a non-best ball, I think I'm leaning. Let's say I've got 3 drafts side by side, non-best ball home leagues. One's a grandma league, one's a work league or something. One's a Aunt Edna's league. All 3. I'm taking Genty in 2, JJ in 1. I'm leaning more toward Genty right now. Meaning I still take JJ, but that's where I'm at right now. So 5-6 is where JJ's at. Monday morning, Tuesday, whenever we get the news, bad news, good news, everything will change.
Right. Real quick, one person saying they're worried about Monty with Gibbs on over, and Monty's healthy. Gibbs can't be RB1 again, so
I can't help
maybe
it.
just coming back. Maybe just
I can't help that.
How Monty doesn't really.
I can't help that person. No, I who was that? Travis is
Sports talk.
Come on, guys. I mean, what does Gibbs have to prove? What's Gibbs have to prove to you? What's Gibbs have to prove to you? Why do you keep trying to tear down Gibbs's running back 1 overall value? He's running back 1 or running back 2. There's no debate here. Monty has nothing to do with it. Monty's irrelevant. If Monty gets injured, and I'm not saying Monty doesn't have good value in his own right, flex, running back 3-4, whatever. Draft him. I've drafted Monty before. But they're running the ball with somebody. It doesn't have to be Monty because Gibbs can't run 455 times per season, which is probably a number that the Lions will hit. He needs to run the ball 250 times, 270 at most, probably. 230's okay. They're going to be playing from behind a little more than normal. Their games will be more of a shootout variety than normal because Ben Johnson's gone. There will be regression, and they're lining up Gibbs out wide a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean Monty's in the backfield. That just means there's motion. This is a motion league. Pre-snap motion rules the world now in the NFL. So Gibbs maybe lines up in the slot in motion, goes in the slot. He's going to be catching tons of footballs. His PPR numbers are going through the roof. This narrative that Monty affects Gibbs is lazy. It's the worst take in football right now. It's ridiculous. Let it go. Gibbs and Monty have nothing to do with each other. Gibbs lives in his own space with his own workload. And as the season moves on, even if Monty doesn't get injured, which he will, Monty is going to get less work and Gibbs will get more as the season progresses anyway. In weeks 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it would be more Gibbs because he's more explosive. And if they're down and throwing the ball or they're in shootouts where they need to get down the field and score, the person in the game is going to be Gibbs, not Monty. I don't care if he's running, but especially if he's catching. There's nothing to discuss here. Any pro Monty argument here is somebody that just is bitter about not having enough Gibbs shares, or they missed out on Gibbs, or they predicted bad things for this and they're just sticking to their receipt. But this is a non-issue.
Yeah, I know it's kind of repetitive too, but I just know that people are just coming back now. So I think.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Your bedside manner is better than mine. So basically, $50 wins you a Denny for the day. There's McCormick trying to make a play on Denny co-hosting the show from time to time. Denny doesn't. We never keep Denny on that long, actually. I think that's a misnomer there. All right, I think we're out of here, Travis. Any final comments or thoughts or anything?
Nope.
Yeah, I have a funny, sneaky suspicion that it might be early next week, but we get a Kyron Williams extension very, very soon. And then we'll be talking about that and increased value there. And then he climbs into round 2 for a lot of people, and then we got to go that route. And then, of course, we take him in round 2. But I think this Monty stuff is nonsense. It's ridiculous. All right, guys, I'll see you all in a little bit. I'll leave you with, oh, by the way, how many people are in here? 223. You know how we do Marsmen, Moonmen, Spacemen? Spacemen is the preseason, the off-season Spacemen. The in-season's Wild Wild West, which I didn't do a very good job of sticking to it the entirety of the off-season.
Wanted.
So off-season is going to be Moonmen, Marsmen, Saturnmen. In-season is Wild Wild West, but we have a new addition. Smitty's back with a new invention. Something grabs a hold of Smitty tightly, flows like a hawk daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? We don't know, because the Throne Men are here to stay. The 9 must-own players in fantasy in-season board. I just held these 2 amazing gentlemen here, but the Throne Men will be like the Wild Wild West, the in-season features, so that the Spacemen are locked in. They're all outside in space. We shift over to the Wild Wild West and the Throne Men. But this won't just be the 9 highest scoring players. This will be the 9 players that we need to have that will win leagues. If you can trade for them, trade for them. If you have them, you keep them. They're just going to be ballers. And obviously, you know who I think is going to be potentially the king of the throne men. But this is just an early taste of it. Get ready for it. It's going to be marvelous. I think the throne men are going to be as popular as the spacemen. Quick question. Sell Jettas for Rice and Nico and a first rounder. I mean, I guess that depends on your team. That is a lot. Where's the first rounder at? I don't know. That's a tough one, bro, because that's a lot of talent. That's a lot of value. Rice and Nico, those both are borderline top 5 to 7 wide receivers. I don't think both finish there this year. One of them will. One of them could be a 7 to 10. But that's a crazy, crazy amount of value. And where's your first rounder? I'm going to look for your answer before I get out of here. That's insane. I'd love to know what people think. Cast your vote on that one. I mean, JJ's JJ, but damn, bro, that is a lot of talent. Someone says easy layup. We've got, I think, taking the right side, says Rain. The guy is gutting his team for JJ. The first might be solid. I mean, it's a great point. Are you getting that guy's first rounder? You say first rounder would be mid to early, but will it be to the well, who is its point? It was Mob. To Mob's point, is it really going to be mid to late, or does this move make it early? I don't know. Mid to late, really? Rice, Nico by a lot. The majority of the chat saying get the first rounder, get Rice, get Nico, do it live. That's an overpay. The only thing I would say is if this is a 10-man league and everybody's stacked and you've got like Debo on your bench and you've got Harvey on your bench, and then this is a different conversation that needs a little bit more analysis, because I think everybody's team's so stacked you can afford to overpay for a big stud when your team is like littered with talent. You know what I'm saying? Much love, bro. Can you start talking better about Tet? I seriously thought you didn't like him. I don't dislike him. I don't like his I don't like his ADP. I like Tet McMillan. I don't like his ADP. He's going at the 3rd to 4th round. That's one of the worst values in fantasy. Do I dislike Tet McMillan? No. Do I think Tet's a bust? Absolutely not. Do I think taking him at the 3rd or 4th round is a league losing move? Yes. If his ADP falls, or let's say in your format or on ESPN he's going in the 7th, then I love Tet McMillan. So it really is, context matters. Thank you for the super chat. Context matters. Where's his ADP? Where are you taking him? On Underdog, he's going in the 3-4 turn. It's ridiculous. It's league losing. It's one of the worst values in all of fantasy football. But if he goes in 7 on ESPN, I love Tet in 7. That's fantastic. But there are those two different realities that we have to discuss. Context matters. Context matters. I'll see you all. Oh, here's Daniel. Daniel with the super chat. Daniel says 12th spot. Keep Neighbors 3rd round. BTJ 8th round. Bucky 16. Woo! Woo! Keep Neighbors 3rd round. No. BTJ 8. Bucky 16. You got to go Bucky. They're all great. I see if you can trade those and get like a increased draft kit pick somewhere. Move a 4th rounder to a 2nd or something to get rid of that BTJ value so you don't just flush it down the toilet. But you got to keep Bucky for that 16. I mean, BTJ solid too. That's a really good value. But Bucky's just, that's crazy. That's insane. And I assume you can do that for more than like 1 or 2 years. I imagine, right? It's for as long as you want. If there was a cap on it, that could change my advice. Probably wouldn't, but there's something to look at. I hope Jefferson feels better. I do too, FF. I hope he does. Thanks, brother. Love the stream. Thank you, Daniel. The stream loves you back. Worthy went 1 pick before Rice. That's fantastic. I love that Rice is falling. The real offer is Jettas and Herbert. The real offer? What do you mean the real offer? The real offer is Jettas and Herbert for Nico, Stroud, Rice, and a 1st rounder, but might be a 2nd. So the real offer, so you're holding out Herbert so that we like it a little bit better. Now I'm confused, though, Gilliam, because I don't... Is this a super flex? I mean, because that's a big leave out. If this is a super flex, then the answer is no. The answer became a no real quickly. 12-team super. Oh, it is a super flex right there. Gilliam, you essentially tried to wrap this up in a bow and sell it to us as a brand new gift when it was a used item from Goodwill. This is not the same question at all. And I appreciate you, by the way. Don't take this the wrong way, but you need to give us all the information. Superflex League, you just say it is a 12-team Superflex. Herbert's involved. This is now a no-go trade. This is you asked me to judge a painting before you turn the painting around. That is now a bad trade. I'm going to say absolutely do not do that.
You've just been Smitty.
I guess unless we know who your quarterbacks are, and Herbert's absolutely not being used, but Jettas and Herbert for Nico, Stroud, Rice in the first, it's a different trade now. Chat, does anybody still do it? Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm overreacting because I knew there was more to it. It was a super fun. Gilliam, I appreciate it. I'm not mad at you. Penix and Jordan Love. Oh. If you gave him Jordan Love and you got Stroud back, I think I'd like that. I think I'd be back in. Stroud could be really good though. If he is. If you believe in Stroud, I guess you could still do it. Chat, does Stroud and Herbert change this for you? Herbert is limited right now in his offense. I don't know. I still do it, but that's a lot left out info-wise. Says Brofist Brad back in the building. Glad to see you here. Okay, Gilliam, maybe I was a little bit of overreaction by me. I'll admit it. I don't think it's a hell no trade. I agree. Stroud's interesting. I just don't trust him. Give him Jordan Love. Give him Jordan Love, bro. Keep Herbert. Give him Jordan Love. That would be my advice. Someone says they kind of like it now. Even I think they're saying even more because they like Stroud. Herbert. I like Herbert more. But you know what, Gilliam? I'm going to change my mind and say it's not a bad trade now. That was my overreaction to you leaving out the quarterbacks, and it's a super flex trade. He gets Stroud in this, Travis. So it's a super flex, and he gets Stroud though. Can we just leave the quarterbacks out, or can you give them Love for Stroud? Try that, Gilliam. That's what I want to do. I'm not saying don't do it. The chat's right. It's still really good, but oh, I don't see Stroud. Nico, Stroud, Rice. It's right there. Am I blind? Herbert for Nico, Stroud, Rice, first rounder. I don't say no to it. I just don't like it as much. You got me really excited. You got me really all ready to rumble, bro, off of that. And if you can give him Love instead of Herbert, or you can leave the quarterbacks out, it's done. If you can't, I don't blame you for doing it if you believe in Stroud. I don't believe in Stroud, but if you believe in Stroud, I'm not mad at it, bro. I apologize for my overreaction. 10 out of 12. How high would you take Hunter? 10 out of 12. 10 out of 12. How high would you take Hunter? Round 4. What does that mean though? 10 out of 12. Like where? How about you mean in round 4? Where do I take him? I don't understand what 10 out of 12 refers to. Does anybody get that? Pick 10. Okay, pick 10. Okay, just say pick 10. Pick 10. How high would you take Travis Hunter? Pick 10. So you're talking about 10 in round 4. I mean, obviously I'd take him anywhere. It depends where you're at. I think you can get away with Hunter in round 5 and beyond in almost any non-best ball format right now. I don't think Hunter is going in the 4th round on any sort of regular basis or even rarity in non-best ball. I think people are not going after him that high. If they do, I'm on board. Anywhere around 4, I would say. In best ball, I've taken him as my 4th drafted player at 4.3, 4.10, 4.12, 4.7. doesn't matter. It just kind of depends on flow, Caleb. But don't force it no matter what. There might be better players on the board. I don't always take Hunter in 4 on best ball. I try and take the best player available. Sometimes Hall, Breece Hall's there. Sometimes JD5's there. Sometimes, you get a player that's just unbelievable. Hampton will fall. Like, those are all players I'm considering over him. Rashee Rice, I love over Hunter in 4. So try to get Hunter as deep as you can. He's normally not going anywhere near the 4th round in non-best ball. So don't force it. You have a high 5th round pick anyway if you've got the 10 pick. So you should be able to get him at the top of 5. Test out your mock drafts and in that format and everything. And look at projections. See where he's ranking ADP-wise. I'll see you all at 8 p.m. Appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to get on over to my thefantasyfootballshow.com, bold predictions, rankings, trade calculators. Don't forget to get on over to my Patreon, $10 a month live chat group. Both links are in the description. I'm going to drop the Patreon link right now. It's a 365, 24/7 live chat group. You want advice any moment, any part of the day, midnight, 2 a.m. This live 24/7 chat group where people are so helpful. I'm in there too, but I don't answer every single question, but I try to get around and answer questions. But it's an unbelievable place. I'm on there multiple times per day for, I don't know, hours total, some total per day on it. It's an amazing place, but it's about the community. So make sure you get on over there. Appreciate you all. How often do I broadcast? More than you've ever seen in your life. FF, I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern at the bottom of the screen. I'm live whenever big news breaks at the top of the screen. I'm also live at midnight Eastern almost every single night, my boy. Almost so live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Live whenever big news breaks. I'm live almost every midnight Eastern every day, almost every day. So this breaking news stuff right here could have us live 3 or 4 times outside of the 8 p.m. Monday through Friday show and outside of the midnight show. Sometimes we've done 5 or 6 live streams in one day, my boy. So buckle up. Buckle up, my boy. You don't need to go anywhere else now. See you all later. Appreciate your super chats. Thank you, McCormick. Thank you, Gilliam. Thank you, Big Prophet. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Gilliam. Thank you, Caleb. Brofist Brad, appreciate you celebrating your 26-month membership. Brofist to the moon. See you all at 8 p.m.